So if you're serious about getting more done in less time and creating more value as a business owner, someone who wants to put out more value into the world, of course, you've got to invest in your own capacity to be more productive. And so it helps to think about productivity at the root level and consider what is the ultimate underlying principle or philosophy that allows a person to become more productive. And I would argue that one of the core fundamental concepts is that you're becoming more farsighted in your actions. All productivity ultimately comes down to having a longer time horizon. Instead of just doing impulsively what seems like the best thing to do at the moment to get fast results right now, you're thinking in terms of a longer time horizon, and you're starting to do things that allow you to invest some time up front that pays you back time, dividends of time on a recurring basis. So a perfect example of this is when I decided that it was taking up too much of my time to onboard new clients. I had this whole process I was going through to create, a Google Doc to keep my notes in, and then creating a billing sheet to manage that, and making sure I sent off the invoice for payment, and making sure I do it. There's this long list of about 16 things I would have to do every time I onboard a new client. And I realized, wait a minute, this should all be operationalized into a system, a process that can be run repeatedly, and I can tweak that process over time so that it runs well. And I'm going to hire this virtual assistant to run that process for me. And anytime I see an opportunity for improvement, I'll just ask them, hey, can you improve that SOP? And so that's just an example of being a little bit more farsighted. And there's all kinds of examples that run the gamut from really short, quick examples of being more farsighted in order to have productivity gains. And then there's others that take a long time. So here's an example of a short one. You decide, I'm going to get into the habit of listing my top 3 priorities for the day before I start my day, preferably even the night before. And I'm going to look at my calendar, and I'm going to time box a few spots for those 3 things so that I'm not distracted when the moment comes. I know I'm actually going to finish the most important stuff. That's an example of something that only takes 5 minutes of kind of delaying diving in, but it results in a much higher level of productivity. And then there's the longer time horizon type thing you can do. Like one of my clients right now is working on moving towards making his business ready for an exit, so he can sell to an investor and cash out and diversify his income sources through his additional investments. That's very farsighted. That takes quite a long period of time of bringing in the right people to replace himself, to make sure it's not an owner-reliant business, and to build the systems and processes so that when an investor comes and looks at this, they say, oh, it's like a turnkey business. If I purchase this, it's going to generate revenue each month. So there's that range. And so my question for you and the challenge for you this week is to start thinking about what bothers you, what frustrates you and holds you back in your business. What are the things that it just annoys you how long it takes? I challenge you to try to think of 1, 2, maybe 3 ways that you could approach reducing the time that takes, or overcoming the constraint that represents for your business, by thinking what would be the most far-sighted thing I could think of, and then take a step back and say, okay, what's a medium level kind of far-sighted investing for the long-term way I could save myself time on that, and then what's the easiest sort of, it's simple, low-hanging fruit, I could do that. It wouldn't be too much of an investment, but it would help to speed that up. And just to think through that lens of, okay, if all productivity comes down to being more far-sighted, to invest now so that I save myself time in the future and receive these dividends of time paying me back for my investment of time up front, then what could I do for the thing that's been bugging me or frustrating me when it comes to productivity in order to speed things up by slowing down? That's your challenge for this week. Until next time.